Hey, what's going on, guys? Heads here from Infinity Loops, and welcome back. Today we have two whoops here we're going to talk about. These are both different. They're both analog, but these are using a lot of new parts that I have been using lately, and I haven't given a proper parts update in quite a while. So I thought I would go ahead and do an all-encompassing video. They're all pretty interesting new parts, but none of which I think really warrant a whole video, at least from me, about them. There's not a whole lot of technical things I could tell you about them that would take a whole video's worth. It would be kind of silly. So I figured we'd just do them all in one, and that would make things a lot easier. I'll share my opinion on them, and then you can try them out for yourself. Let's go ahead and jump into our first whoop that we're going to talk about. Now, this is kind of reminiscent of my older builds. There's nothing too special on this one except the 32,500 kV motors. These are the Treetoppers, or the motors, as I've been calling them. These are the FPV and WeBleedFPV motors. These are 0802s. They come in this lovely purple finish with blue accents, and it has a 1.5 millimeter motor shaft on them. Now, I've been flying this in combination with a Beta FPV Air 5-in-1 flight controller. This has been kicking my butt. This is the third Air 5-in-1 flight controller that I've had in this, and all three, now this one included, are having VTX issues. So some of the footage you see from at least the motors build, you'll see that in the OSD. That'll look kind of rough probably in some clips, just because the VTXs have just been slowly degrading over time. The more I fly them, the worse it gets, until it gets so bad that I can't even leave my garage if I'm sitting in here without losing the video completely. So again, this is the third one I've put on here, and I'm kind of just done with those for right now. Luckily, that brings us to our second whoop, which this is my newest one that I've put together. This one I have been loving a lot, and this has a lot more new parts on it than that one there does. The highlights on this one, things you may not have seen. Number one is the V2 F75 by Fractal Engineering. This is not yet released. However, I have been flying it for a few months now. I think this is my second or third one. I broke one. I got another one stuck really high up on a ladder in a ladder dive video, if you've seen that. I got it back, but the frame broke eventually. And this is my second or third one, can't remember, but I do love this frame a ton. It leaves a whole lot more room on the bottom here. It's way more open. So these are supposed to be coming out about 2 weeks, last I talked to Fractal, which was about 3 months ago. So 2 more weeks. Now, also on here, you will see the final version of the tinywhoop snowblower motors. These are the ones that I did in conjunction with Jesse P over at tinywhoop. These are the top spin version with the locking motor shaft, the white finish on them, and these are 25,000 kV with the 1.5 millimeter motor shafts. I'm using the same propellers on this as I do on the other build with the motors. So nothing too special there. These motors have been out for a while. If you haven't had a chance to try them yet, pretty sure they're in stock right now on tinywhoop. You should go get some if you haven't already. I love these motors a ton, but that's enough about those. Let's get to the newer items that I have on here. First, we'll start in the center, and that is the Happymodel CrazyG473. Now, putting the G right up against the Beta FPV's Air 5-in-1, there's a lot of similarities there. As far as they both use the same shape, they both have the same little plastic dongle required USB-C connector to get into the firmware. You have a power switchable 400 milliwatt VTX built in, and that uses OpenVTX. You also have Express LRS on board, and that is on version 3. And mine came flashed with the latest version of Betaflight, which I believe is 4.6. Now, to make things simple, because I like simple, I prefer to fly over tune or fart around in the settings. So I am going to leave the flight controller on the stock tune right out of the default Betaflight, whatever they got on here. I'm just going to send it the way it is, put my rates in, and let her rip. Finally, to top off this build is the newest piece of equipment on here, and that is the BleedEye by WeBleedFPV. You can pick these up over on WeBleedFPV.com. They are $15.99. They're 1.2 grams on the scale, and that's without the cables. The cables that are included are the plastic coated wires, and they use the smaller of the two camera plugs that we would traditionally see. One you would normally find on like a Beta FPV board or a newbie drone board. This has 600 TV line resolution, a 115 degree wide field of view. Your image is coming through in 4:3 aspect ratio, and the camera body itself is 11 by 11 millimeters. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed this flight footage, and then we will come right back and talk about these new parts. Now, first to talk about the V1 build with the 32,500 kV Treetopper motors by MoFPV and WeBleedFPV. Firstly, huge miss on the name. I'm so upset with you guys that, first off, neither one of you consulted me. I have great names. I come up with great names all the time. Some people say I have the best names. I've heard once or twice. My wife told me that. But besides the massive miss on the name being motors, I do think these motors are fantastic. They're a lot of fun to fly with. I didn't think I would enjoy them being that they're such a high kV, especially on 0802s. I've never experimented above 30,000 kV. So 32,500 kV seemed like it was going to be a pretty big jump, considering my normal is like 25,000 kV. So it was a big jump. And to be honest, I had a little bit of trouble getting a good tune on it to just fly solid. I did okay, I think, for me. My tuning's horrible, but I think for me, I got it pretty good. It's not solid in the least bit as far as 100%. There's definitely some more work I could do on that. I don't know if that was a me issue, probably a little bit, but also just being that they're such a high kV, I think that may play a part in that as well. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just making stuff up. But I do think that they fly really well, and I was quite surprised, actually, on the flight times I was getting. Using a 450 and my normal flights, flying indoor, outdoor, I was getting around 3.5 minutes. Now, 3.5 minutes doesn't seem like a whole lot on a 450, considering usually I could squeeze like 4 minutes to 4.5 minutes out of 450s for indoor flights, let's say. I was pretty shocked to get 3.5 minutes. I was really more expecting 3, maybe even closer to 2.5, even on a 450. Now, you can pick yourself up a set of these Treetopper motors over on WeBleedFPV.com. They are $45.99, and that will get you 4 of them. This is the only place that they are available. You cannot get these exact motors anywhere else that I'm aware of. Now that does it for the V1 build, because outside of the motors, like I said, there's really nothing else on there that's groundbreaking or crazy new for anybody out there. But moving on to the V2 build, let's talk about that Happymodel CrazyG473 for a moment. I am very happy with the flight controller so far. Having extremely little amount of plugs on board is perfect for me. That's what I've been looking for since they stopped making the Diamond. Now, let me tell you something I don't like. I think it's a perfectly good 1S flight controller. The price is a little high. I did get it from WeBleed, which usually things in the States are going to be marked up quite a bit if they're coming from China originally. You could probably get this direct from China a little cheaper, but I'm trying to practice what I preach, so I am buying from US shops as much as possible when they have things in stock. So WeBleed just so happened to have the motors I wanted to try, the flight controller I wanted to try, and they had released the BleedEye all within a few months of each other. So this worked out perfect. I got everything I wanted from WeBleed. I put the build together, and that brings us to the BleedEye. One thing that I did notice, it kind of jumped out at me almost immediately when I started flying the BleedEye, is that I went from inside of the garage here out into the open in the front yard, and it was about midday. The sun was at its highest point, I'd say close to, and just going from the garage with the lights on in here out into the outdoors, the time for the sensor to adjust going from darkness to light was way longer than I would normally use myself, or that I'd normally like to see myself. But I also didn't really like the pinch very much, and that's something that's really subjective. A lot of people love the pinch, and I don't think they're wrong for liking it. I just think it's not for me, and I think that's the same can be said with the BleedEye. It's just not for me. I think this camera is going to do phenomenal in a room with very low light, with very bright LED gates. I think it's going to be great for tinywhoop racers, because I really do see this camera perform best when I'm in a low lit area and there is just some brighter lights on here and there throughout the room. So adding in some LEDs, it seems like most of the LEDs that I flew around while I was testing this camera out, the colors come through pretty true, much like I found in the pinch that a lot of the colors will come through true, as in, if you've seen some micro cameras, if you fly around LED gates, especially if they're flashing through the colors, some colors may show up just completely white in the lens, but if you take your goggles off, it's like orange. So this is more true to that. Like, you get more true color. So overall, for the BleedEye, I think $15.99 is a great price for a micro camera. No complaints there, especially considering that it's already in the States. It's not like you're ordering this from China. So that's good. Again, if you're considering on sharing this footage with the internet or whatever, it might not be your best bet to use this one. If you're going to be racing, yes, most definitely check out the BleedEye. Freestyle, you might like it. You may like it. I'm not saying you won't, but yeah, just not for me. I love to see options. We need more micro camera options, please. After they discontinued the Pico Razor from Fox here, I have just been lost, wandering in the wasteland, looking for a camera that I can freestyle with, that gets decent footage, that I can post again online and make it look nice. That's all. That's all I want. I don't think that's too much to ask. That will do it for both of my latest and greatest daily drivers that I've been using. Not a whole lot's changed over the years as far as what I've liked. I've kind of tinkered with things here and there, small little changes, but nothing too much. I kind of found a recipe that I really like, and I just stick with that. So if you have a recipe you like, of course, stick with that if it works for you. But if you're looking to experiment a little bit, maybe try out some way higher kV motors than you're used to, or try out the lower kV motors if you're used to a higher one. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative. Please go check out those new parts if you'd like. I'll leave links for those down below. Some might be affiliate links, some might not be. It'll get confusing if I try to list them here. So I'll list them down below. If you use the affiliate links, we do appreciate it. That's awesome. If not, totally understandable. Get them where you can A, afford, and B, are happy with the shipping time. You know, get what works best for you. Don't worry about us. Thank you again for your time. We hope you enjoyed, and we will see you in the next one. Take care of yourself.